you only can become grateful for what you have once you've lost all of it, and you're like, what? Oh man, I used to be this. I like I my one of my eyes is not the best. I'm like, oh, I used to see so well from that eye. I never really just took it for granted. You know what I mean? So I know exactly what you mean. So let's hope we don't have to wait for so long to be grateful for water, man. Because without water, we're all dead. We're all. It's not just human beings which are dead, right? Everybody's dead. No crops, no food, no animals. I think Russia should be doing well, right? They got Lake Baikal. I think that's the largest freshwater lake in the world.
The biggest reservoirs of water in the world are Russia, Canada, and Brazil.
Brazil?
So
How Brazil? Is
yes,
it the Amazon or
if you look into a map,
yeah?
you can see how the rivers are just like the veins, and they're all over Brazil.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Big, long, white rivers, like just blood, blue gold, just
Yeah,
going through.
I like
And
that.
this is
I like
because the forest. So vegetation is highly linked into water precipitation. So humidity is another important factor for our well-being and all the other things
yeah,
that we rely on, the biodiversity. So when we lose the forest in the cities and we change a forest for another neighborhood, or we change a trees in the cities for another pole for electricity, or it's blocking my view, or whatever it may be, we are actually locking ourselves away from more water precipitation. So we're actually messing up with the cycle of water to actually literally have this vital liquid that is like gold melted
yeah,
all over our heads, like literally rains from the sky.
yeah, yeah. Exactly.
This is that. It's the most important element that probably you have in your life, and literally falls from the sky. And you say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna cut down this tree.
Yeah, I know, man. It's like, yeah, it's unbelievable. It's like a miracle that it falls. Like you said, you don't have to do anything about it. It's just made by itself. It's gold falling from the sky, and you still find a way to mess it up. It's pretty
Yeah.
uncanny. Yeah,
So this is why, because all these issues, all these numbers, what can I tell you about, people? People are suffering. People who have no access to water suffer of disease. Actually, there's a very good reason why most of the cities around the world develop next to water.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
rivers. It was obvious.
Like you
So
said, I think you were telling me this the war in Syria started because of water. I know this for a fact that in the desert, if you had a well and you tried to go and draw water from another well back in the day, when you were like in the days of the Bedouins before the oil was discovered, you were gonna get shot. If you've seen the movie, one of my favorite movies of all time is a movie called Lawrence of Arabia. I don't know if you've seen it. If you've not,
no, I haven't.
oh, you must see it, my friend. Peter O'Toole. It's a
I
very old
will.
one. And Omar Sharif, the Egyptian actor. And one of the most iconic scenes where Omar Sharif comes is uh, they're in the desert, and which is this is a true story, by the way. And Mr. Lawrence is with his guide in the desert, and they find a well in the desert, and they open it. It's covered, of course, and they open it up, and they're trying to draw water. And his guide is, and before he can draw the water, somebody just shoots that guy, and from afar you see Omar Sharif coming back on his camel. He said, "That is my well. Nobody touches my well." You know what I mean? So, like you said, everything is built around water. Of course, the India. If you see the names of the civilizations, like in India, I think. Okay, I'm not going to say this because I'm Indian. I'm just saying this on pure facts that are now out. The Indus Valley civilization, which is uh, yeah, Indus Valley civilization, if you heard of it, is basically India's old civilization. Is known to be one of the oldest civilizations in the world. About there's a city called Dwarka. Okay, there's a city called Dwarka. Dwarka is in Hindu mythology. If you heard of Lord Krishna, it is his home. Okay, and even in Hindu mythology, his home is underwater. So off the western coast of India, with the state is called Gujarat, but it's called Cambay, that area. they have actually discovered a city underwater. Okay, and carbon dating, and it's not just a city; it's a very complex city, large city, and it went underwater because of the shifting of the tectonic plates and the movement of away from Pangea. So it is underwater, and carbon dating has explained that that city is 8,500 years old. That city is 8,500 years old. So to put it into reference, it is how old the Egyptian civilization and the pyramids are for us today. If you were an Egyptian during the Egyptian civilization, that city would be as old as the Egyptian civilization is to you today. You understand?
Wow.
Yeah. My point is, even Egyptian civilization was built on water. There is evidence that the Sphinx and the pyramids and everything, that area, which is supposed is a desert now, was actually not desert. It had water, because there's evidence of water erosion around the Sphinx as well. So everything in the
Yeah.
world is built around water, and obviously, I mean, that's the life source. You can live without food, you can't live without water, right?
Exactly. There's a very good phrase from the United Nations that I really love, and says like, "No one has died from love,
No one
but
has. No one has.
no one has died because of love,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
no one can survive without water."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. That's true. Love can take a half
So,
of water.
exactly. So I it's like, providing access to water, it's an act of love.
Yeah,
Totally right.
true.
So this is why, there's a big lesson in what you were saying just before. Those civilizations who were able to manage water, to retain water, and have a relationship with it thrived. Those who didn't fell. And it was the same thing with the Aztecs and the Mayans and Egyptians and many other civilizations that couldn't thrive anymore because they exploited their resources. So there's a
Yeah.
big lesson. It has happened in the past,
Oh, yeah.
and it's going to happen again.
It's gonna happen
If we
again.
don't.
You're right.
So, with that in mind, the United Nations in 2010,
Yeah.
look what I'm saying, just like 12 years ago,
Yeah.
sorry,
10 years.
10 years ago, they just declared human access to safe and clean water a human right.
Ah, well done. Thank God.
So, but this is the irony. When water now for 10 years has been a human right, in those 10 years, we are still buying bottled water.
Yeah, I know. I do it too, man. What do I do? I mean, at least I buy one bottle. When I travel, I buy one bottle, and then I keep that bottle and I keep replenishing that bottle.
Well, this is crazy, right? Because if access to safe water is a human right, and
Yeah.
this is not respected. How can they sell water to us? So capital keeps finding ways in which they create a problem because they put mines and they pollute rivers, or they extract all the underground water, just beer or wine or whatever they may need for you to consume. So they don't need the government doesn't give priority to the people. It doesn't give priority to the environment, and it is sold for big bucks to big companies to produce what we consume because we demand it in high proportions: alcohol, beers,
Yeah.
coffee. All this has a big water footprint. I'm going to give you some details in a moment, but what I'm trying to say is like every time that you buy bottled water,
Yeah.
it's like you're saying, I don't want the human right. Thank you. I prefer to pay for it.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm not paying for the water because there's so many studies that prove that the quality of the water in a bottled water is not better than just tap water sometimes.
Really? Really? Tap
Yes.
water? Wow.
Yes. So maybe not in India.
Yeah.
But I don't know India very well, but many countries probably is not the best case of tap water. But what I'm trying to say is like, don't trust bottled water. It does not always telling you what they tell you they're selling you. What you're doing is just to produce more water going into create plastic to have a bottle of water and pay 10,000 times more the real value of it because you think you're drinking safe water. that you're actually not. And you're saying, I don't want my human right. Thank you very much. I want to, it's like, would you imagine being paying for air to breathe?
I hope not. I don't want to imagine it, but considering what capitalism does, I might have to start thinking. In Delhi right now, you would notice the air quality index is so bad. I don't know what the index is called and what numbers is, but I think 200 is supposed to be very dangerous and 250 is supposed to be hazardous. Delhi's at 600. It's like walking around in a concentration camp or in a
Oh my
gas.
God.
So, like you said, water companies don't sell water; they sell bottles, right? They sell plastic bottles. Basically, water is supposed to be free. I think there might come a time where I might have to buy air, like put a gas cylinder on my back and walk around with air because the air outside is so polluted.
That is already happening. And you know who's selling it? Yes.
That's happening? You're joking.
That is happening.
What?
No. You know who's buying it?
No?
China. You know who's selling it?
I don't know.
Canada.
They're selling air? You're joking, huh?
They're selling bottles of fresh air from the Alps of, well, it's not an Alps, but the forest of Canada, shipped into China for the very polluted cities so they can have some fresh air for health purposes.
So what, people just walk around with like a gas, like a scuba tank of air and walk around with that?
Well, it's a smaller tank. It's not as big as that one, but you can buy it and have the luxury of breathing some fresh air without having to leave your city.
This is horrible.
And this is the power and the risk of leaving solutions to the market. Right? So aggressive capitalism does not respect human rights. It doesn't care who goes down or who goes, benefited from all these, as far as they can do money. So we should not allow, as citizens of the world, for this to happen. I feel sorry for cities like Mexico City or New Delhi or Hong Kong. They actually have to start doing these kind of desperate measures where they're selling their human rights to someone who has not fucked up that high. And we need to push our governments and our companies to say, you must be responsible and accountable for what you're selling. Your production and your value chain must be compatible with sustainable development. Otherwise, we don't want it. We should stop buying all these things. And on that mind frame, let me tell you the water footprint of some elements to see how actually we contribute to water consumption way beyond brushing our teeth, washing our hands, and having a shower or going to the toilet. So, for example, brushing your teeth or washing your hands, normally that will take like 1 gallon of water. That is like 3.5 liters, 2.7 liters of water. Okay?
Yeah.
That's a lot because many people do not
tap and they keep,
Exactly, right? So it shouldn't take more than, actually, I'm going to tell you something for all those who, think that they mastered the process of brushing their teeth. If you are the type of person that has to wet the brush before putting the toothpaste and actually brush your teeth, you've been brainwashed. Like, that actually is not the way it should be done.
Really?
It does make a difference to wet your brush or not before you put the paste and start brushing your teeth.
Okay.
The toothpaste actually should be abrasive, so it should create friction on your teeth. So when you wear it, you're just doing a disservice to yourself. And ask a dentist about that. Don't believe me? Ask a dentist about it. But anyway, that's 3.5 liters, right, in average. A toilet, when you flush the toilet, it's 10 liters.
How many?
10 liters.
Oh.
So here's a very funny. Sometimes I think we should disappear from the face of Earth, or probably not be called ourselves intelligent species, because if you are shitting on the vital liquid at 10 liters flush, you are an asshole.
You told me this last time.
Yeah. So,
you know about this?
Who never heard this before, I think that's a very good evidence that we're not as smart as we think we are.
Let me tell you a joke. Just to save money, just to save water for flushing. somebody had once when I used to live in the States, somebody had said this because they had a plumbing problem, not because they want to save water, just had a plumbing problem. So they said, Rahul, in this house, if it's yellow, we let it mellow. If it's brown, we flush it down. So